Please help me understand.
The thing is, I don't want to.
Give me a name.
You're gonna have to lock me up.
What is happening, folks? Welcome to another episode, Nerds at Night, and we are talking all about the show.
Details matter.
I am your host, the world's most okayest detective, Blake Money Blakeweather, and let's get right into what we're going to get into. We're going to get into some fan comments. We're going to get into a recap of the episode, and then we're going to get into our new handy dandy suspect board. We're going to start placing people on the suspect list. Are they high? Are they low? Are they mid? We're going to figure it all out, but not before we give our rules for solving a murder mystery. So let's go ahead and get into our fan comments throughout the week. Our first one comes from Manadoshi1079. It says, Imogene, while following Layla and finding the secret room, is wearing different clothes. That may be something to look at. I think that's a reference to the whole fact that there was twins last week, and I think somebody mentioned that Imogene might be a twin, or she might have a twin. I also think, too, given when Imogene was following Layla, and then when she went back, I think she changed clothes. But it could be two different people. We don't really know. I really like that theory. It fits with the whole twin theory we were talking about last week. If you missed last week's recap and review, go ahead and go back to it and you'll see what I mean. Our next one comes from Basquiat76. He says, I like the show. It has a little bit of Only Murder in the Building feel to it. We've talked about that in episode 1. But speaking of detectives, I would have liked Mandy Patinkin to be a bit more eccentric. I guess I'm just used to seeing that with Poirot and Daniel Craig and the Knives Out movies and such. I don't really have a bid on who did it yet. I feel like we've only scratched the surface so far, but 2 episodes in, I'm enjoying it. Just happy we get a whole new murder mystery. They're getting popular again, which is great. I'm very happy about murder mysteries coming to the forefront of pop culture, and it's sort of slowly creeping its way back. So I want to keep that up. And then our last comment is from Dimsum959. I think the waitress staff's sister Winnie is the killer and agree that the mom put the hit on her mom. She's talking about Mama Collier putting the hit on Imogene's mom, Catherine Collier, being behind everything, just like we talked about. I think that is going to be what plays out. But Dimsum959, that is great. That's great theory thinking right there, because that's exactly what we've talked about and sort of the conclusion that we've come to. Now let's get right into the recap of the episode. We've got Anna trapped with Eleanor, and they get close. We also find out Layla was not with Anna. Like I mentioned in episode 1, I was a little sus about that. But just because she wasn't with her, I don't think she committed the crime, because whoever committed the crime had to be in the room the whole time. And Layla was just sort of wandering. I don't think she was in the bar cart the whole time. We find out where the lawyer was. He was trapped in his own closet because Teddy is his dominatrix. Ooh. And this story was confirmed by Eva. And speaking of Eva, I told y'all Jules was in some shit, but just because he's in some shit doesn't mean he killed anybody. I told y'all this show's going to do a lot of putting some weird situations happening, putting the mirrors and being putting some fake illusions in there and being like, hey, look over here, when really that's not what it is. So just because he was hiding, in the little clubhouse underneath the ship doesn't mean he was in some shit. It doesn't mean he was the killer. It just means he was doing something a little sus, which is taking stowaways to a new country. Was somebody paying him? How did he figure this out? Is that why perhaps he set up Sunel? Did he set up Sunel with the fake people who were trying to rob him? We only know Sunel's story. And much like in a lot of murder mysteries, and one we broke down, specifically Evil Under the Sun, you need to know both sides of the stories in order to fully find where the truth is. And so until we get that story confirmed, should we actually believe Sunel? I don't really know. We'll get to him a little bit later. We also know Grandma Chun knows that the priest is sleeping with Catherine Collier. How does she know that? I don't really know, but she be knowing a lot. Shit, she even knows he's vegetarian. We also get a big bomb Winnie admits to killing Keith Trubisky. Now, the question is like how and why, but she does specifically call out things that Imogene did in the room that she saw that only somebody who was in the room would have known about. But why did she do it? Like the opportunity makes sense. The means opportunity, right? Like everything makes sense. It makes sense. It's like, okay, yeah, you fit in the bar cart. You could have done it. But why? But like, why? The motivation don't line up. Doesn't mean she didn't do it. It just means we need to dig deeper onto the why, like what's really going on. We also find out Jules gets caught. He gets sort of caught in place of letting the stowaways go. And in that time, Layla sort of meets up with Coatsworth and she sort of lets him know there may be this sort of bigger plan that has to do with Victor Sams. And then during that monologue, it sort of alluded to that Sanel may be in on this. Is he? Is he the Victor? He's kind of a little bit older. He could, he could potentially be a Victor Sams type character. He could be behind it all. His age sort of matches up with like he'd have been alive 20 years ago. He'd have still been an adult. I don't know though. I don't know. I think they're pointing us again into a different sort of illusion trick for us to look this way while something's going on that way. And that's our recap. Now, let's get into our suspects and see if we can start to figure out things as they stand right now. Now, before we get into our suspects, let's talk about the rules that we use for solving a murder mystery. Rule number 1 is we have to have suspects. Rule number 2, we have to have clues. Rule number 3, we have to have motive. Rule number 4, we have to have opportunity, always bonus. Rule number 5, the big one, we have to have red herrings. Let's go through our list of possible suspects and see if we can determine who fits what on this list. So we have top suspect, highly suspicious, maybe, probably not, and no way. So let's start with Anna. And Anna's verifying that Layla wasn't in her room, which means Anna was in the room, which means Anna was around. Nobody was watching her, but at least she knows enough to be like, hey, I was in my room. You weren't here. Where were you? I'm going to put her on probably not, but she could also be in the maybe, but I don't feel like she's in here. Coatsworth, he's still not off my suspect list, but I'm going to put him on probably not, but I don't want to say for sure not. It's a murder. It's a new school murder mystery. They could be trying to do some. It's the detective, right? We have Eleanor, and I'm going to put her on highly suspicious. And here's why. When I mentioned a few episodes ago, it could be any one of the Chun granddaughters. So it could be Winnie, Teddy, or Eleanor. Now, we do know Teddy is no way, and the lawyer is no way, because they was doing some freaky-deaky in the room. You know what I'm saying? They get a little crazy over there. But we do know Winnie is top suspect. She admitted to the crime, but did she actually do the crime? Maybe Eleanor told her some stuff. I'm leaving Eleanor here. I might even move her to top suspect. I might move these two because, hey, I could tell you some stuff and be like, hey, here's everything I saw. Here's everything I know, but don't snitch me out. And so it could have been Eleanor the whole time telling Winnie, hey, here's what happened. Here's how this went down. Here's how I did this. We don't really have their time accounted for. And I don't know if I fully want to believe Winnie was the one. She obviously could be. This could be a whole like, hey, Winnie did it, but now we're trying to figure out the how or the reason behind the why, the motive. And then that digs into the deeper thing. And then we figure out actually it's all connected to Imogene's mom and so did it. So I'm going to leave those two there. We know Jules, no way. We know Homegirl, no way. However, I still want to put her on the maybe list just because she was in the room. They keep alluding to it's just very simple. It's meat and potatoes. But also, too, there's no way because I talked to you last week. I just tricked you. She has an iPhone. People with iPhones, no way. We have Layla. And again, we talked about this earlier. Layla, I don't know. Probably not. She's too highly strung up. You know what I mean? She's so paranoid about everybody trying to get in her business. And if she was wandering around at that time, she would have had to have been in that bar cart for a long time. And I think Anna would have mentioned something like, hey, you were gone all night. Not that you were gone for a little bit or you were gone for this time. You were gone all night. I don't think she was gone all night. I'm going to go with probably not. She's not on the way. She's not all the way on the no way, but we'll leave her at probably not. The governor, I'm going to go with there's a maybe. She's somehow connected more so than she knows. I feel like she's more so used and less so like in the know of why she's being used. Trip, I'm going to go with a no way because they always try to make these hotheads like hey, this guy's got a temper and da. But in murder mysteries, it's never the person with a temper. He's on my no way. We got the TikTok kid. I'm going to put him still in the maybe. He has to know something or has recorded something. We haven't seen him since the first episode. And that's a long time. We've only heard him mentioned and he's still recording stuff. But again, I bet you like he's got something recorded. We've got Sunel. And Sunel, sorry, the picture's a little cropped off. Whatever. You know who this guy is. He's highly suspicious now at the end of this episode, and that's what they want to make us think. And it's for good reason, right? Like, we don't really know his time, what he was doing, and whether he could be in the bar cart. He could orchestrate this. He could have orchestrated, hey, I need somebody to go in the bar cart. I need to control the pawns. I'm the king over here, and I need to control everything that's going on. He could be behind it. I highly think, though, that it was less nefarious and more, again, sort of like a Jules thing. They set us up last week. They're like, Jules, he's hiding out in the clubhouse underneath the ship, but he ain't had nothing to do with nothing, right? So Sunel, though, he a little sus. So we're gonna leave him there for right now. He's highly suspicious. That leaves us with Mr. Collier. Mr. Collier, highly suspicious. We don't know his accounting. We don't know his time. And also, too, is a picture with Catherine Collier. She's highly suspicious, too. Both them highly suspicious. I forgot to get a picture of her. We're just going to count them both. We get a 2 for 1. It's like bingo. We get a 2 for 1. But they both highly suspicious. And I don't think it's because of this crime. I do definitely think, though, it is the crime of killing Imogene's mom. And I think more so Catherine Collier, more so than Mr. Collier. And then that leaves us with the priest. The priest is going to go into my maybe. I think just because he has the information. I don't think he did anything, but he allowed things to happen. He's the doorman, right? Like he opens the doors, closes the doors. He knows what's what. He sort of lets people through, knows what people are going through. And for that reason, he's on the maybe list because I don't think he did it, but I can't say that he's innocent of everything. What y'all think of that list? Do y'all agree? Do y'all not agree? Do you think I left somebody off? I left Grandma Chun off. My bad, but she's on my highly suspicious list because she also could be orchestrating. And let me get right into my theories real quick. We do know that somebody who was a donor or had some sort of donor money was the one who called in the favor to get the bar cart to Keith Trubisky's room. Now, if we're saying that it's not the Colliers, then there's only 2 other people that would have that much pool or that much money to be donor level. It would be Sunel and it would be Grandma Chun. And either one of them could have called in the favor to get the bar cart there, or to have been like, hey, I need somebody to call in the favor of getting the bar cart there. The governor's just going to do what she's told. And also with the governor, people know that her and Trip were doing a little something. So we got to talk about that too briefly. Who could it be? Who's blackmailing them? Could it be the son, right? Could it be the priest's son? Maybe he put some cameras. He's doing a lot of stuff with cameras, so who knows? But yeah, Grandma Chun could have orchestrated this, or Sunel. That's why they're top on my highly suspicious list. I don't know. There's some stuff that don't add up, and they're a little finagly, And Grandma Chun's got a lot riding on the line. She could even, partner into this business at a cheaper deal if Keith Trubisky's dead, on a ship that's funded by the Colliers. Like, that makes a lot of sense. She can't do all the things, but she could orchestrate it. Maybe she's Victor Sands the whole time. Maybe Victor Sands is not a guy, it's a woman. And that could easily be a thing. What do y'all think? Do y'all agree, disagree? Let me know what y'all's list looks like. And let me know any theories you have after this particular episode. Let me know what you thought of this episode. There was a lot of moving pieces. It felt like a lot more moving pieces for all the characters in this episode than last week, which focused a lot on like sort of this twin element, which I think we still have to keep in mind. But if you have any funky ideas, theories, comments, shoot a comment in here. I'll go ahead and be sure to read it on the next episode. Let me know any predictions that you got about what could happen or what you see happening that I'm not seeing, because maybe there's a few things that I'm not seeing or didn't catch. that I'd love to hear from y'all about. There's still a lot of questions. We're about halfway through, so let's see how this rolls out. Let's see if we can sort of piece together anything more and see if we change our board up anymore come next week. I really hope y'all are enjoying this. I'm really enjoying this season so far. It's real nice. Again, tune in every Wednesday to sort of see us break this down and see if we're any closer to solving the case before the end of the series. And if you're just starting the show, go back and look at all the rest of the reviews that we got and see if you can start to piece together anything that we've talked about so far and formulate your own ideas about what's going on. Y'all, this season's getting real spicy. So I look forward to hearing from all of y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. If y'all are fans of Murder Mysteries, go ahead and check out the movie reviews and breakdowns I have. That'll sort of bide you some time until the next week, until we sort of talk about this again. But in the meantime, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether it's morning, evening, afternoon. I do appreciate you. And until next week's episode, I will see you. Peace.